at this one. Okay, so I created this practice today just thinking about the fourth and the fifth chakra. So the fourth chakra is, our awareness of the connection to our compassion and to understanding. And I think the world always needs more of those things, maybe even more right now than ever, or maybe just ever in our lifetime. And also, the throat chakra is associated with our speech. One aspect of the throat chakra is associated with speech. I'm just feeling just this deep, connection to this theme because of the way that we are seeing people treat one another and speak to one another. And I think it's really important to remember our words can be just as painful as physical harm, and our words can have such a long lasting impact on people. And so I created this because I think it's important to step back and to try to connect into that state of compassion before we interact and say things that we really don't mean. And I always think of that sharp speech as that speech that's so penetrating that it just feels like it cuts someone, and I think that we all want to avoid hurting someone to that to degree with our speech. So I want to share this quote. You've probably heard it before, by Bernard Meltzer. Before you speak, ask yourself if what you are going to say is true, is kind, is necessary, is helpful. If the answer is no, maybe what you are about to say should be left unsaid. Okay, we're going to begin in wide knee child's pose. And you'll just place the weights off to the front. You can bring your big toes to touch or at least close, knees somewhat wide, and then let your body fold forward, releasing and relaxing the belly between the inner thighs, between the inner knees. And then just allow the areas of your body that have a connection to your mat to begin to feel settled. So much of this theme ties into the current state of our nervous system. If our nervous system is agitated and we feel stressed, we will become more reactive. And allowing those areas of your body that are connected to your mat to begin to feel settled is not only going to settle your body, but it's also going to begin to settle the nervous system. Become aware of the breath around your ribs and begin to breathe just a little deeper. Okay, take one more inhale, draw the breath into the body through the nose, and then take a deep out breath, exhaling out through the mouth with a soft sigh. Inhaling, we'll rise up with the hips coming to all fours, tabletop. Slide the knees underneath of the hips, spread through the fingers, just some gentle cat-cow. Inhale, release the belly down toward the floor, lift up through the heart. Exhale, press into your hands, draw the tailbone under and round through the spine. 2 more rounds. Inhale, let the belly release. Feel a gentle softening in your elbows as you let your heart lift. And then as you exhale, press into your hands, draw your tailbone under and round through your spine. And then one last time, inhale, let the belly release softly down to the mat, lift up through the center sternum. And then as you exhale, press your hands down, draw your tailbone under, feel your spine, the back of your spine open, the back of the heart open and lift to the sky. Inhale, release your belly down toward the floor, light lift up of your heart, ground down into the balls of your feet. And exhale, lift your knees up and come into downward facing dog. As you're arriving there in the downward facing dog, begin to take a gentle pedal through your feet and through your knees. So stress constricts. So it can make our body feel tight. Our muscles, we hold that sense of stress in our muscles and in our fascial lines. So just let the breath deepen, feeling the exhalation, this intention to release tension from your muscles and like the stress from your mind. And then allowing that movement just to bring some openness and elongation to your muscles. And then pausing in the downward facing dog, and then take your next inhale to bring your gaze toward your thumbs, and then step your feet forward, coming into forward fold. All right, so as you arrive in the forward fold, just begin to let your knees bend, start to sweep your arms out to the sides, and let your body rise all the way up. As you exhale, bring your prayer hands together, and then just draw them down into your heart. So as you breathe in, we're going to do a few simple sun breaths. You're going to inhale, take a big circle sweep of your arms. Just want you to feel almost like you're radiating that inhalation out from your heart, out through your legs, up through your arms, prayer hands coming together, and then drawing back into the center of the heart, the seat of compassion, the seat of understanding. Take a deep breath in, feel yourself radiate the breath from the center of the heart outward. Reach up long through your fingertips and exhale as you bring your prayer hands together and draw your prayer hands down into your heart. And let's do one more that exact way. So breathe in from your heart, sending the breath out through your legs and your arms. Your prayer hands will join together and then draw down into your heart. Inhale, circle sweep one more time. This time at the top, you can let your elbows soften a bit, interlace your hands, and bring your hands to the back of your head to support the back of the skull. Then you want to allow the back of your head to start to release a little weight into the support of your hands. So as that happens, you'll feel your chin slightly tip upward, and that's going to create openness across the throat center. So we think of this throat area as the center of communication. So just contemplating on our theme of compassionate speech, right? As well as mindful listening, right? Take another breath in, keeping the hands behind the back of the head, and then begin to exhale, bend your knees and hinge your body out over your legs, coming into the forward fold. As you inhale, slide your hands upward on your shins, lift your belly away from your thighs, reach out through the crown of your head, and then exhale as you fold back into your legs. Okay, now we're going to catch hold of the weights in the hands. So we're going to bend the knees, draw the weights into the chest. So the elbows just kind of pull up into the sides of the body, reach long through your spine, and begin to rise up with your torso, coming up, shoulders over hips. You're going to take your arms down in front of your legs. You're going to turn your knuckles toward what's in front of you and palms back toward your thighs. As you inhale, you're going to lift your arms straight forward, bringing your arms parallel to the floor. And then as you exhale, let your arms come back down. And we'll just do that a couple times. So you're going to inhale, let your arms rise up, keep reaching up through the crown of the head, and exhale as you let your hands come down. Inhale, let your arms rise up. Exhale, let the arms come down. So keep going with that. So the arms are seen as an extension of the heart. So here you can still stay aware of the center of the chest and feel your arms rise out and extend out in front of you. And then exhale, bring the hands back in. We're going to do it 2 more times. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to lower. Simply bend the elbows so that the heads of the weights come into the center sternum. Remember what it felt like to have your hands behind the back of your head. So start to tip your chin up. Even without the hands there, you have that same feel. Chin lifts, throat is open. Exhale, bend your knees and let your body hinge forward. For a moment, you can set the weights down. Inhale, slide your hands up on your shins. Lift the belly away from the thighs. Reach out long through the crown of your head. We're going to exhale, step the left foot back. Okay, we're gonna see if we can balance in high lunge. Now you can always do this in low lunge if the balance feels unsteady. Catch hold of your weights, right knee is over the right ankle. You can even put a little baby soft bend in your back left knee. Now you're gonna draw the weights into the sides of the body, elbows draw up, press into your feet and rise up. And you're gonna let your arms come down by your sides. Heads of the weights are facing straight forward. Palms feel like they're turned into the sides of your body. So you're gonna inhale, let your elbows bend, and then stretch your arms up by your ears. Exhale, let your elbows bend again. Weights come into the front of the shoulders, and then lower your hands back down by your hips. So inhale as elbows bend and rise up. Exhale, elbows bend and release down. And let's try that again. Inhale, elbows bend and stretch up. Exhale, elbows bend and release down. 2 more times. Elbows bend and stretch up. Exhale, elbows bend and release down. 1 last time. Elbows bend and stretch up. Deep breath in. Exhale, elbows bend. Hands come down. Bring your torso forward. Let your hands come down. Set the weights to the side. Simply take your right foot and step your right foot back into downward facing dog. And then just take that light pedaling out through your feet, through your knees. Okay, so we're gonna take the knees, lower them down to the mat, and we're gonna shift the hips forward into modified plank pose. So if needed, you can walk your hands a little forward. So you might even float your feet. That's my favorite way to come down. Lift the feet, cross at the ankles, take a breath in. Keep lifting through the center sternum, and as you exhale, bend out your elbows and come down to your chest. Now you can uncross your feet as you arrive. Now once you come down, you're gonna keep your hands underneath of your lower chest, upper ribs. I call these cobra push-ups. So I'm gonna press into your feet, and we're gonna take cobra pose, but we are gonna use the strength of the hands and the arms. So you're gonna inhale, press down, and then feel your torso, your chest, and your upper ribs lift away from the floor, and then exhale as you come back down with those upper ribs and the chest. Press down into your hands and your feet. Hug your elbows slightly in, tailbone down. Inhale, rise up. That opening right at the heart. And then exhale as you come back down. Snuggling your hands down. Press the tops of the feet down. Draw your tailbone down. Inhale, rise up again. Exhale, bring your chest back down. We're just going to do that 2 more times. Press into your palms, tailbone down. Rise up with your chest and your ribs, and exhale, come back down. 1 more time, press into your hands, tailbone down, inhale, lift up through your heart, and then exhale as you come down. You're gonna press up to table on your inhale. So inhale, rise to hands and knees. So press the balls of your feet into the mat, float your knees up, downward facing dog, and then just hold here for a minute and just take some deep inhalations and deep exhalations. Okay, 1 more. Inhale here, and as you exhale, look up toward your hands. Take a couple steps or a big step to come into forward fold. So here, Catch hold of the weights in your hand. So we're gonna come up that same way. So you wanna let your knees bend. As your knees bend, your feet feel more solid to the earth. Bend out your elbows, pull your elbows in and the weights to the chest, reach long through your spine, press into your feet and unhinge, rise all the way up. Bring the weights down in front of the hips, turn your knuckles straight ahead, palms facing toward your thighs. Inhale, let your arms rise up, parallel to the floor, and exhale, come back down. Nice and slow, inhale to rise, and exhale to release. Inhale to rise, and exhale to release. A few more times, inhale to rise, exhale to lower, inhale to rise, exhale to release. Last 2 times, inhale to rise, exhale to lower, inhale to rise, exhale to release. Bend at your elbows, bring the heads of the weights in toward your chest. Tip your chin up. Just that imagery of your hands interlocked behind your head. So it's that same feeling. Feel the openness across your throat and the elevation of your heart. Exhale, let your knees bend and hinge out over your hips, coming into the forward fold. So set the weights down for just 1 moment. Inhale, lift your hands high on your shins. Lift your belly away from your thighs, and then exhale as you fold into your legs. Now you're gonna step the right foot back. Now remember, you can take the high lunge. If you like, you can also take the low lunge for more stability. Catch hold of the weights, left knee over ankle, maybe a little bend in the back right knee, and then you can let your body rise up so your shoulders land over your hips. Take your tailbone just ever so slightly down and let the weights come down by your side. Heads of the weights facing forward and the gaze is steady. Take your breath in, same flow. Heads of the weights come in and reach up, opening through the side body muscles. Exhale, let your elbows bend, and then release your arms back down. Inhale, heads of the weights come in and stretch up. Exhale, heads of the weights come in and release down. Inhale, bend the elbows and reach high. Exhale, bend the elbows and release. 2 more times. Inhale, bend the elbows and stretch up. Exhale, bend the elbows and release. Very last one. Inhale, bend the elbows and stretch up. Exhale, bend the elbows and release. You're gonna hinge your body forward over your left leg. Let your hands come down and then shift the weights off to the side and step the left foot back into downward facing dog. So again, here you're just gonna lightly come down onto your knees, and then you might need to walk your hands a little bit forward. So final set of those cobra push-ups. Pick up your feet, cross at your ankles, calves. So you want to hug your ankles and calves toward one another, tailbone slightly down, heart is lifted. Exhale, let your elbows bend. Nice and slow, come down onto the chest and the belly as you arrive. Uncross your feet, a little bit of space between the feet, tops of the feet ground down, tailbone reaching toward that space between your heels. Inhale, rise up. This breathing, pulsing cobra, awareness of the throat and the heart. Exhale as you come back down. Inhale, feel the tailbone gently reach toward the space between the heels. Pubic bone gently presses into the mat. Exhale as you come down. Inhale to press down into your hands and lift up. Exhale to lower. Last 2 times, press down and rise up. Exhale to release. This very last one, press into your hands and the tops of your feet. Inhale to rise. Exhale to release. As you're breathing in, you're gonna press up into tabletop, and then you're gonna exhale, lift your knees and come into just a minute here in the downward facing dog. So press into the foundation of your hands and feel the bones of the buttocks lift up. Feel your spine reach out long, long out through the crown of your head. Take another round of inhale and exhale here. Then as you take your next inhalation, you can bring your knees down lightly to the mat. So I like to support my knees with the blankets. You can catch hold of your weight as you come up to stand on your knees. So a little bit of space between the knees, and you're gonna let your weight come down by the legs and then bend at your elbows so that your arms almost have this right angle from the shoulder to the elbow crease out to the wrist. We're gonna keep the elbows bent, but we're gonna inhale and open that out to the side. So the knuckles are facing straight forward, and then exhale, let your elbows come back in. And we're gonna do that again. So just be mindful of your shoulders. You can always do the motions with lighter weights or without weights at all. So we always wanna pay attention to if we have any pain in the shoulders and modify as needed. Inhale and exhale. A couple more times. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, so you're gonna let your hands come down a little more to the heads of the weights. And then you're gonna stretch your arms up by your ears. So you're kind of hanging on to the heads of the weights. The tailbone is gonna slightly draw it down. You're gonna stretch your arms up by your ears. And we're just gonna do a last few pulses here. So you'll bend your elbows and then stretch your arms back up, and then let your elbows bend and stretch up, and then bend the elbows and reach up, bend the elbows, stretch up. Just a couple more times. Keep the breath full and keep the gaze steady. Last 2 times. Last one. Okay, let the weights come into the front chest, and then let your elbows extend down. Weights come down by your hips, and then you can set the weights out to the side. Now from here, you can let your hands come down, swing your legs around, rock out onto the opposite hip. So we are gonna take bridge pose. So if you wanna move your blanket, you can, or you can lay down with your back on the low blanket. So as you come down, just a light release down, and then let your knees first bend, feet wide, stretch out from your heart, and then just sway your legs from side to side. So there's just this process of clearing that we have to do each day, maybe multiple times a day, right? Because we're accumulating all of the information that's coming in from our senses. We're accumulating the stress, that we may be experiencing in our life or picking up from, the news or social media. And so all of that accumulates and allows us to not see, perceive reality as clearly. And it also can cause us to become more reactive. So it's just a daily practice, maybe multiple times a day. Right? And then let your knees bend, bring your heels approximately in line with your sitting bones. A little wider is fine too. And then you can just take your hands and just wrap your hands around the outer edges of your mat for a moment, and then roll your shoulder blades down into the floor. You're gonna feel a little more pressure of your arms down into the mat. You might even feel your center sternum lift up a little bit. Inhale, press into your feet and let your hips lift up. We'll pulse just another 2 times before we hold. So exhale, let your hips come down. Press into your feet and then rise up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to rise up, feet strong, knees stable. Exhale, lower down. This next one, we're gonna rise up and hold. So you're gonna rise upward with the hips. So you'll let the front hip bones be open. The thigh bones, the knees and the feet are really stable. Now you can keep your hands clasping the outer edges of the mat, or you can move your shoulder blades a little closer together so that maybe your hand interlock. So this is a great 4th, 5th chakra pose. So emphasizing the opening across the heart, and then emphasizing that small amount of compression at the area of the throat. So feel your breath deepen. Notice the breath at the back of your throat, and just this intention to soften any tension from the forehead as well as the eyes. Soften the eyes into the eye sockets. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. If your hands are still interlocked, you can begin to slowly release the interlock and let your shoulder blades come a little more flat to the mat. And then you can lower your hips back down to the floor. Then open your arms out into that wide T, turn your palms to face up, widen your feet, and then that gentle swaying of your knees from side to side. Okay, so as your knees sway over to the right this next time around, you want to hold there. And so notice the inner edge of your left foot. Just see if you can gently press down into the inner edge of the left foot. And you also want to feel almost like your left knee is reaching toward the front short side of the mat. So when we contemplate our own speech, we can also contemplate ahimsa, which is do no harm. And we can reflect on our own speech. And it's, we all make mistakes, right? And so it's just important to have that time for reflection where we can look at our own speech and how we've been talking to others, as well as self-talk. So many of us have those stories that seem to cycle through the mind, and we're talking to ourselves very negative self-talk. Okay, last breath in, last breath out. Okay, inhale, rise to the center and lower your knees to the left. And then same thing, just pause and activate the inner edge of the right foot down. And feel the right knee almost as though it's just reaching toward the front short side of the mat. Okay, last inhale and last exhale. Okay, and then inhale, come through the center, pick up your right foot and your left foot, hug your thighs in. So we have this multifaceted self, right? In these areas where that are sometimes the foundation for our growth, right? So this pose to me has always felt about holding space for those parts of ourselves that we love, but parts of ourselves that also are sort of like the fertile soil to grow from and to gain greater insight and wisdom. Right? So holding space for all of the different aspects of who you are. All right, and then here you're gonna pause in the center and then you release your hands, let your feet come back down and then stretch your arms out and your legs out on the mat. We're gonna come into final rest now. So go wide with your feet. You can let your arms come just a little bit away from your legs and turn your palms up. And then just take a deep inhalation. And deep exhalation. Coming back to the feeling of your body supported by the earth. As you're ready, allow your knees to bend one at a time, planting your feet down to the mat. And then rolling your body over to the right or to the left side. Pressing your hands down and then rising up, coming to your seat. Join your hands at your heart, prayer, sit tall. The light within me bows to that same light that exists within each of you. Namaste.